What's poppin', y'all? Despite Not Like Us being Academic's most listened to song on his Spotify, he has found himself in a position with his lieutenant in charge, of course, Academic's TV, as chief Kendrick, anti-Kendrick propaganda. Like, whatever division that the U.S. had that made sure, communism is the number one enemy, make sure Russia and China are seen as evil, that's what they got with Kendrick Lamar, except it's, make this guy any shred of a tiny thing you can to make him seem terrible, go ahead and do that. Now, I will say there is a group of psychotic people that are trying to do that with Drake, but they're not centralized or localized to a specific figure where we can point that out. Granted, now Kendrick Lamar is on tour, a stadium tour, and in the lead up to this stadium tour, there's been nothing but, it's K, and this is the funny thing, they're talking about K-bots, bots. You would think it was a spiritual Illuminati video, the amount of bots that they were using. Not view count, I'm talking about the term bots being used. So you would probably think, there's no way this sells. And that's what they were trying to tell us. They were saying the ticket sales aren't looking too hot. Tickets had been out for 2 hours. Tickets had been out for 2 days. Tour was still 2 months ahead. And they were like, ticket sales is flopping, man. And this is the first show. Minneapolis, no way they're going to do it. Well, what happens? They still find a way to hate. And Academics is trying not to hate, but you could see the hate seep out. And it was funny and entertaining. So off rip, I'm going to play you guys a bunch of different clips and we're going to address some of the points. One of the points I just found ridiculous. And I think the goalposts keep moving along, which I'm not in favor of. So we're going to run the first clip, which is showing how big the crowd is.
We're not lying now, okay? Ooh, that's a good look. This is a good look right here. Now, we're going to get official capacity numbers, so we're going to get the total count of how many people are in these arenas, or not arenas, but stadiums, and we'll get that probably at some point with touring data. But looks pretty good to me.
So there you go. Academics is basically letting everybody know, this looks good. I mean, how could it look any better? That's an outstanding crowd right there. You see all those lights. You see all those people in those seats. If there were missing seats, people would have pointed them out. That's a fact. But then he goes on to begin the slight hating after giving Kendrick Lamar some credit. You got to soften the blow a little bit before you come and lay the hammer down. No weird stuff. I'm not alluding to anything weird by that.
I do think, just being 100% honest, I think Kendrick got the capability of, crafting a good show. Now, granted, I didn't like his Super Bowl performance. I think his Super Bowl performance just was Brian Drake. And I've seen the guy perform. I think the guy is, pretty good performer. I've seen him, put together. I went to the Mr. Morale and the Big Stepper tour. It was kind of pretty good, right? So, the only reason I kind of shit on the Super Bowl performance is because, bro, we get it, bro. But you're mad obsessed with Drake, and you're taking away from some of your actual artistry. Okay.
This is where I think the hate starts to seep out, because initially Academics said that he didn't like Kendrick Lamar's Super Bowl performance because he tried to keep it middle of the road and he didn't completely hate on Drake. He said he should have made it to where either he's not going to do the songs hating on Drake, or he was going to go all out and have a Drake head on stage and really make sure that he was annihilating him at this moment. But now he's saying that, he didn't like the Super Bowl performance because he felt like it was all about Drake. So which one was it? And these are two opinions that he gave himself that seem to contradict each other. So now you're saying it was all about Drake, and before you were saying it wasn't as good because it wasn't all about Drake, and it should have been an opportunity that he used to drag Drake through the mud. This is where the hate comes in, because it's you're changing up arguments. People start to change up arguments when they have, I wouldn't say an emotional attachment to the situation, but when they have a negative disposition of this artist. Because no matter what Academics tries to say, I think he attempts to be objective about Kendrick Lamar, but I don't think he likes Kendrick Lamar's music. I don't think he ever liked Kendrick Lamar's music, so I think it makes it that much easier for him to hate on Kendrick Lamar, and he actually has to dial it in to attempt to be objective. And then especially when Kendrick Lamar destroys your favorite rapper, it's even more mind-blowing.
Hard to gauge the crowd off of this, man. Clearly there's people there.
I mean, for this clip, I don't find it hard to gauge the crowd. There's a bunch of people in seats. Isn't that what we've been talking about this entire time? Can it be done? Can these people show up to the tour? Well, I see full seats. I don't really see any empty seats. People are making some noise. So why is it so hard to judge? And here we go. The infamous Joker clip / meme. This is where the hate gets ramped up and the goalposts get moved. Because initially, what was it? Okay, it's bots are streaming this. Nobody's actually listening to Kendrick Lamar. All right. Okay, they're trying to do a stadium tour, but nobody's actually going to buy the tickets. Oh, the tickets are sold out. Okay, now what do you have to say? Well, we're not really sure. Well, Academics wasn't saying that they wouldn't be able to sell it out. That's not a claim that he made. It was just some haters of Kendrick Lamar that said that. So I'm not going to put that on him. But he now starts talking about, Drake's not the greatest performer because people are performing during their concerts with him and singing every song.
To juxtapose my argument with, I don't know if you've been to a Drake show. I've always said, I don't think Drake gives the best shows. The reason why, it's a karaoke in there. Drake don't sing half the time. Every time I go to a Drake show, I lose my voice. You sing every song, every song. Like the whole crowd, like you're hugging strangers singing these songs. You grew up on these songs. These songs are your childhood. These songs are like, it's just embedded in you. You know what I'm saying? So like you literally, and pause on that. And you literally just sing every song. The whole arena is singing the entire time. There's no like, let's listen to Drake rap. It's like, nah, it's our time to rap. It's one of the reasons I was saying somebody who loves him, like, I want to perform it. That like Drake is just kind of there just holding the mic out and people are singing his shit. Is that crazy? I'm watching this shit, and by the way, again, I'm trying to be fair, but I am trying to be critical too. Objective critical, not hating critical. The building is packed, but I'm wondering how many of these motherfuckers are like diehard Kendrick fans, because I ain't gonna lie, like that was a huge moment. I would think the whole crowd would be rapping his verse. I'm only hearing one with a camera rap the verse. But again, I don't want to, I'm not trying to hate. I'm just wondering, I'm like, wait, how is this shit so packed and these niggas is not singing every fucking, nigga, if I guarantee, let me see, what verse? Let me not use Drake. There's not many other artists that has that effect.
So if Drake's not that great of a performer, and I do think Drake is a great performer. I know people that have been to his shows. I unfortunately have not been to a show yet. I had the opportunity to go for the Drake versus Lil Wayne tour. That's probably going to be one of my biggest regrets ever, not going to that. Or entertainment regrets. But here, why do people need to sing the lyrics for it to be a good show? And it's almost as if, okay, we got people in the show. We got people to buy tickets. We got people to take the evening off to drive to this show, to bring their family maybe, right? That's a big commitment for somebody to go to a show. And now we're going to judge, well, are they really like that diehard Kendrick fans though? Or maybe they're just fans of not like us. What? What are we arguing here, man? Like, we're basically moving the goalpost until we get to a point where there's this intangible metric that cannot be assessed. And then it's an attempt to disparage and diminish what a massive accomplishment for hip-hop this is. Like, for a follow-up to a beef, to win, to go on a stadium tour, and to pack it out. Now, granted, this was just the first night. We haven't seen the rest of the tour. It might not look that great, especially when they get to Europe. I think Europe will actually go crazier than America because they know there's probably not going to be another opportunity to see Kendrick Lamar and SZA on the same night. So I think those will be crazy. But instead of just looking at this as an overall win for hip-hop, it's, like people aren't singing along to the songs. A lot of people just want a performance. And we're going to get into the singing along to the songs myth. Because even if the majority of people that showed up, I'm willing to say they weren't Kendrick Lamar stans for the past 10 years or 5 years even. They probably found out about him after Humble. Maybe they found out about him during this beef. But the fact that they were able to convert into fans, they had to go through his catalog and they showed up. That's an achievement for Kendrick Lamar. Now, are people going to throw this achievement to Drake and be like, well, he did it because of Drake? That's amateurs. That's like saying LeBron James won the championship because of his opponent. No, he won the championship because he slaughtered his opponent. If he had lost, it wouldn't have turned out this way. Pusha T didn't start doing arenas when he won the Drake beef, so we got to toss that to the side as well. And then there comes this next clip about singing along.
This is up to you if you want to call this hate. I know Kendrick could do arenas. I know this. I'm not saying Kendrick's a small artist or nothing like that. But I'm wondering how much of this stadium tour is the direct byproduct of this moment of the battle and then Not Like Us. And maybe it attracts certain people that maybe only are there for Not Like Us. Again, I'm not saying that's most likely what's happening. But I'm wondering because I'm like, I guarantee, watch, I guarantee for Not Like Us, they singing every word. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. So I'm just wondering if these motherfuckers, I'm like, maybe they're just kind of fringe fans, but Not Like Us is the biggest, it's probably one of the biggest songs of the decade, right? So it's like, yeah, they're like, all right, okay. Like that, all right. Yo, when is he going to do Not Like Us? Which, by the way, I don't know if that's the case. Right now, it's just a theory. We're still scrolling the timeline. If I'm Kendrick, I'm doing Not Like Us 10 times, if that's the case. But I don't know yet. So, let's get it. Ain't it a little weird that it's kind of quiet? Am I tripping? Maybe it's hate. I don't know.
So here is where we got to address it, where it's like, yo, now people need to sing every word. Like, sure, Drake's easier to remember the words because a lot of it is choruses. People remember the choruses to popular hit songs. Drake's had a ton of top 10s. That's not the case with Kendrick Lamar. He's a different type of artist. Kendrick Lamar, people know like more of the albums, right? And Kendrick Lamar has put out less music than Drake throughout his career. And yes, I do agree with academics that how much of this is pretty much trying to throw salt on the wound after the beef, post beef, but I think it's capitalizing on an opportunity. Like, Kendrick Lamar had a ton of attention after this, and what better way to level up his brand and quote unquote real hip hop than to not just wash him, not just do the Super Bowl, not just have a hit that's still on the charts over a year later, but to do a stadium tour, like to level up where you were originally doing tours, which was arenas, and now do a stadium on top of it. Yes, it's an amazing thing that he's done. And even if it's due to the beef, he took that opportunity to level up and the risk that comes along with it, because it's not easy to put together and produce shows like this. It's not easy to put together this tour. It's going to cost a lot of money. Sure, it will make them money, but it's a risk nevertheless. And he's taking that risk again, just like it was a risk to beef with Drake. And for the whole Not Like Us take, nobody is buying a ticket and going to a show, especially a stadium show, because of one song or just to listen to one song. Like, people that just like Not Like Us, they're letting it run on their playlist. They're like, okay, that's a cool song. To actually show up to a show, you really, really need to be invested in the artist. And I do think they're like, oh, maybe if they're like, oh, Not Like Us, and that's the Kill Bill girl, then yeah, they're probably showing up. But they're showing up for Kendrick and SZA. Now, I will say SZA's contributing a lot. I don't believe Kendrick Lamar would be able to do a stadium tour on his own. That I can admit that for sure and easily. And number two thing is we're going to run another clip about this knowing all the words to the songs.
I know every word to Family Man. I'm a rap fan. The fuck are you talking about? Oh my God, you can't even hide that you know the words. That's one of the biggest moments of my life too. What are you talking about? That's one of the biggest moments of my, like, how, what do you think, like, because Drake's my favorite, I don't know the words? I know all the words. What's wrong with y'all? Relax.
So in this clip, Academics obviously admits that he knows the words to all of these songs. This was a huge moment in his career and life. He was referenced on both sides of this beef. How could it get any better than that? And he needs to realize that he's a huge hip-hop fan. A lot of people are just casual fans that go to these shows. Like, many diehard, I wouldn't say diehard, but many like strong hip-hop fans aren't even going to shows that often. There's different demographics. So they don't need to know all of the lyrics. I don't think so. They're probably just looking to enjoy the moment. And they're not like, okay, hold on, I need to make sure I memorize all the lyrics before I go to a show where I'm going to pay for someone to perform those lyrics for me. And to address the argument before where it's like, oh, these people don't know these people don't know all the words to the song. I'm like talking way too fast. I'm moving quick. Let me ease it up a little bit. You know who's an example of somebody where at their shows, they know every single word to the songs and they're singing along a lot? Pitbull. Pitbull's got hits. He's got wide spanning hits and he's got major shows. Are we going to start throwing Pitbull in the conversation with Drake and Kendrick Lamar because people know his lyrics more and they're singing along more? Are we going to do that? Or are people going to use that as an attempt to say, well, Drake is just like Pitbull, you know, all he does is drop these big hit songs that people know the lyrics to, like these moms and stuff like that, and of all ages, whereas Kendrick was able to make it to stadiums being authentic to hip-hop. So you see how people will just take anything to like latch it on to whatever narrative that they have. And then Academics eventually hands him a W, reluctantly.
Or, you know, again, we have to think about, you know, I don't know about y'all, and this is not me hating. It's like, I'm a rap fan. I would not go to a SZA concert. That's not what I'm into, okay? Like, if I've gotten SZA tickets, I give them away. I just give it to some females. Like, y'all go have fun. I don't want to go watch SZA, like, sing a bunch of hurt anthems. I'm not with that. Feel me? But you're combining both worlds. Now, I do think Kendrick's audience is like little woke niggas, which I think SZA kind of with that too. So there's probably some synergy. And also they have songs together, which obviously makes sense. So the energy probably is fine, but I'm wondering how both fan bases are, because both could go on arena tours by themselves. So I'm wondering if there's just a bunch of SZA fans just waiting like, all right, my nigga, let's get to our girl. And I'm wondering if there's a bunch of Kendrick fans by saying, you're not even showing that BBL anyway, man. Get off stage at this nigga, go perform Squabble Up or some shit. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. Right?
This point I agree with. I do think there's not conflicting fan bases, because historically, TDE, there were TDE fans, like people that were just interested in what was going on with SZA, Schoolboy Q, and they were following all of that. Like, I was somebody that enjoyed TDE. Now, they weren't necessarily my favorite, of course. Schoolboy Q was my favorite out of TDE, even more than Kendrick Lamar. But I would follow what TDE had going on. However, I think in the past couple of years, SZA has become so mainstream, like with songs like Kill Bill in the past 4 years or so, that she has amassed a fan base that was outside of the fusion of the hip-hop R&B fan base that frequently has a lot of overlap. So I think there are a lot of people at this show that just know, especially if they're girls, that just know Kendrick Lamar as the Not Like Us guy. I do think there is a portion of that in the show. However, I think the majority of Kendrick Lamar fans on this show are SZA fans as well, because it's hard not to enjoy SZA's music, especially when you look deeper into her catalog. Like Control, most male hip-hop fans loved Control as well. I enjoyed Control. Now, her most recent albums, I haven't even really listened to. I've just heard the singles, but I don't even know. I can't even give you a real reason as to why I haven't listened to them. I just haven't listened to them. That's just it. I'll probably will now that it's like at the forefront of my mind. I'm like, wait, why haven't I listened to that? I like her music. I've liked their albums before. What reason is there for me not to listen other than perhaps time, maybe wanting to invest in a hip-hop album as opposed to her album with the time that I do have? But regardless, I do think this is a good point that he brings up, but I don't think it matters, because the whole argument was that they wouldn't be able to do a show together. And I think them doing things together is dope, because it still has that homely feel. It's almost as if, like, hip-hop R&B, which SZA and Kendrick are at their cores. TDE was a hip-hop label. They went from like this group to stadiums, and her being, I wouldn't say like Taylor Swift level, but what I'm saying is I think a lot of Taylor Swift fans enjoy Kill Bill and the SZA as a whole, and then they showed up to this concert, and of course they probably don't even know too much about Kendrick Lamar, despite the fact that Kendrick Lamar was on a remix with Taylor Swift, which was a huge moment as well. But I think overall for hip-hop, this is a win. We should all want this to succeed, unless you're a delusional Drake stan. Then yes, you should be hating on this, but this is not the place for you. Academics, I think he's low-key happy about this. He's definitely not a fan of Kendrick. I'm gonna go, we all know that for sure. I think it's like a closeted fan type of relationship where he's like, damn, he's going crazy on these songs, but he doesn't want him to win to the degree that he's winning, which is understandable. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed, and I'm gonna see you in the next one. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Go to helloyassine.com. Thank you for watching. Peace.